Welcome back, demigods, monsters, and gods alike, to the Olympus Report. We finally made it, Half-Bloods, the final episode. Here's everything you may have missed in Percy Jackson Episode 8, The Prophecy Comes True. Before we hop into Episode 8, here's a couple Easter eggs I missed in Episode 7. When Hades welcomes Percy and Grover, he asks them if they want a glass of pomegranate juice. Why pomegranates? Well, when Hades was trying to trick Persephone into staying in the underworld, he planted her an underground garden, and in the garden were special pomegranate seeds. Persephone ate a quarter of one, and this is why she had to stay in the underworld a quarter of the year. It's also these seeds that Nico D'Angelo ate in The Mark of Athena to stay alive when he was trapped in the giant's jar. The actor who plays Krusty, Julian Richings, actually played Charon in the Percy Jackson movies. Super cool. Alright, now on to Episode 8. What a finale! All of the show's shortcomings are made up in just this episode. For the most part, it was pretty spot on and accurate to the book, with some minor changes that I think helped the story. Honestly, it was perfection from beginning to end. But let's start with the beginning. The episode picks up where 7 left off, Percy, Annabeth, and Grover on the beach. Unlike the book, however, this is Montauk Beach and not Santa Monica, a change I really like. Not only does it save so much time and an unnecessary plane ride, but it just feels more powerful for Percy to be fighting on the beach he grew up on. Before Percy confronts Ares, Luke begins speaking in an over-narration, and then we cut to a flashback. And we finally get to see the training session with Luke, something I had thought they left out. And it was so worth the wait. We finally get to see how good of a sword fighter Luke is, and the lesson taught here is used in the Ares fight. So I love that they waited on this scene. Bringing this in now also reinforces just how much Percy looks up to Luke. A complete opposite to the end of the episode. But we'll get there later. And the transition from Luke to Ares, oh my god, so smooth. The editing and cinematography in this show deserves all the awards. Then Percy challenges Ares. And Ares has looked tough up until this point, but here he is actually terrifying. And Percy looks scared until Ares insults Sally. And you do not badmouth Sally Jackson to Percy. Filled with rage, the fight begins, and oh man, they did not hold back on this scene. The choreograph is fantastic, and I actually feared for Percy's life, even though I knew he was gonna win. Percy, although a good swordsman, can't compete until he gets thrown in some water, and we finally get to see Percy unleash his powers to his full potential. He summons a tidal wave that would make Poseidon jealous. Using Ares' confusement and bewilderment, Percy manages to make the first strike, winning the fight. And just like in the book, Ares bleeds golden ichor. Ares, being the sore loser that he is, tries to disintegrate our trio with his true form before leaving, thankfully leaving the helm behind. Just like in the book, Percy returns the helm to Alecto, who takes it back to Hades. But Percy's job isn't over. He has one more task: return the bolt. Annabeth and Grover think he's insane, for surely Zeus is gonna kill him. And it's at this moment that we see how much Percy has grown since episode 1. His mom is safe, but he still wants to continue the quest. The complete opposite of how he acted at the beginning of the show. Now he's a true hero. For good luck, Annabeth gives Percy her necklace, showing just how far their friendship has come. And then Annabeth and Grover go back to camp and Percy heads to Olympus. As we cut to New York, I love how a storm is brewing, showing us that Zeus is not happy. Percy is not the scared kid he was at the start of the show. After everything he's been through, he's rightly confident.
I'm here to see Zeus. I don't have an appointment.
We then cut back once more to Luke and Percy, where we learn of Annabeth's fear of spiders. And it reveals just a bit more into Luke's true nature. Just like a spider, he can be small and scary, and that's what the gods fear. His resentment is just starting to come out a little bit in this scene. An absolutely brilliant parallel storytelling. We then get our first look at Olympus, and it is a city fit for the gods. However, I like how the throne room isn't really too different to Hades' throne room, maybe just a bit brighter. An interesting parallel. Then we get to see Lance Reddick's performance as Zeus. And what an honor it is for us to have his last performance be Zeus. A truly devastating loss because he plays him perfectly. He radiated power without even trying, and Walker is brilliant as well. You can see the tremble in his lip.
Boy!
Phenomenal acting all around. Now here's a change from the book I really like. In the book, Zeus was a bit stubborn and some may say dumb. He refused to hear anything about Kronos and refused to believe that Kronos could be rising to power. But in the show, Zeus believes Percy. So show Zeus is definitely smarter already. But even with the threat of Kronos out there, Zeus still refuses to stop fighting with Poseidon. And Percy, the stubborn half-blood that he is, yells at the king of Olympus that the Olympian family is a mess, and Percy is right. This message is so important, and it's going to set the tone for the rest of the series. But despite what Percy is saying being true, Zeus isn't too happy to be yelled at by a 12-year-old and goes to kill him. But then Poseidon steps in to save his son. And honestly, I think this is the most emotional scene so far. I legit cried. It's just so touching to see Poseidon finally protect Percy. Poseidon lays down his pride and surrenders to Zeus as his love for his son is stronger. And you can see how much he loves Percy when they get their moment. And you can see that Percy has come to respect and maybe even love his father as well. But unfortunately, the meeting doesn't last too long and Poseidon sends Percy back to camp. Percy returns to camp a hero and we get another Percabeth hug. And what a contrast his walk through camp is versus the one in episode 2. Here, he's a hero. There, he was a forbidden child. And did anyone else notice these twins? Anyone else thinking that just maybe they could be the Stolls? Possibly? Everything seems great until it's revealed that Clarice is still at camp, who Percy thinks is the thief. Why hasn't Luke told Chiron? Well, when Percy confronts Luke, it's revealed why. The final line of the prophecy comes true. You shall be betrayed by the one who calls you friend. Luke is the lightning thief. And guys, oh my god, one of the best scenes in the show. It is so heartbreakingly emotional and so well shot. The fireworks in the background, a celebration of happiness lighting one of the darkest moments in Percy's life. Absolutely brilliant storytelling. And we get our first look at Backbiter. Something not seen in the book, but I'm so glad it's here now because I did not want to wait. And it is so intimidating. And this scene plays out a bit differently than the books, but I think it is far superior. Instead of Luke trying to outright kill Percy, he tries to recruit him. Luke did care about Percy and he wants Percy on his side. And oh man, Half-Bloods, Walker and Charlie are absolutely brilliant in this scene. Especially Charlie. This line right here absolutely killed me. The amount of emotion you can hear in his voice.
I didn't think you'd give him to Grover to wear. I am your friend. Percy, none of this was meant to betray you.
Only when he can't recruit Percy does he try to kill him. And it's so much more interesting than Percy just getting bit by a scorpion. Percy puts up a great fight and we see how much he's grown, but not enough. All seems hopeless until Annabeth shows up. And I love that they included her here. Not only does it save time in having to explain it later, but this will influence Annabeth's character going forward, and I think for the better. Luke, refusing to fight her, escapes. We then cut to the end of the summer and Percy is headed home. And so is Annabeth. She's going to give her dad a second chance, making sure she has no regrets. And Grover has finally gotten his searcher's license to look for Pan. Our trio is heading in different directions, but they promise to return next summer. And they better. I need my season 2. Then Percy heads back to Montauk to see his mom, and we get a really emotional reunion that ultimately turns out to be a dream. But this time, Percy isn't afraid, and he stands up to Kronos. This is a different Percy than the Percy at the beginning of the show. When Percy wakes up, Sally has returned, and Percy makes sure to tell her how much he loves her. A truly heartfelt moment. And then the episode ends with continued narration from episode 1 and the book, bringing everything full circle. But that's not the end. We get an end credit scene featuring Gabe. Sally is finally divorcing him. And instead of purposely turning Gabe into a statue, he accidentally finds the package which has been returned to sender and opens it. So really, it's on him. Definitely a good call not to make Sally a murderer, even if Gabe deserved it. What a way to end this series. The show may have had ups and downs, but this was definitely a high. I give it an 11 out of 10. I cannot believe the show is over, but we have season 2 to look forward to. Hopefully. This show may not have been perfect, but it was damn good. It gave new life to a 20-year-old story. The connections and relationships in the show were definitely a highlight. And watching these young actors embody the characters was truly something special. Especially Walker, who really became Percy. And Walker's voice was just so soothing to listen to. Thank you to everyone who watched my breakdown videos. But fear not, I still have plenty to talk about the show. So be on the lookout for those videos in the future. But for right now, I'm signing off. And please always remember to stay safe.